Welcome everybody, I'm Jesse Bartman and this is Bartman's Bits. Microsoft has finally updated their tried and true 14-year-old flight simulator with the recent release of the aptly named Microsoft Flight 2020. Now, I'm not a longtime user of the simulator lineup, but I have dabbled quite a bit. Not to brag or anything, but I have worked on full-scale simulators, so I have a smidge of experience. A while back, I started getting pretty heavy into Lockheed's Prepared, X-Plane, and DCS. My experience with Microsoft was with FSX, which released in, I believe, 2006. If that's not right, I will correct it here. And the small amount of flying that I actually did do on FSX was just for grins. Lockheed's Prepared, which is built off of the FSX platform, really drew me in, and I started investing a large amount of time and money into that. Little HOTAS over here, a little dash of HD trees there, and a smattering of airports, textures, and weather packs to spice it up a little bit. In the end, I was pleasantly surprised with the quality of the visuals, but it did come with a price, requiring me to upgrade my hardware significantly to be able to run the frames that I wanted. When the Valve Index came out, I immediately purchased it and fired up these simulators, only to find out that even with this frame-spitting monstrosity in my corner here, I was still struggling to hit playable frame rates. So this saddened me deeply and forced me to turn to other more playable games like Beat Saber and Boneworks and other VR-specific titles. So the throttle and stick slowly made their way into the shelf to gather dust. Well, now it's time to take them back out because Microsoft has given us wannabe pilots a reason to tell all of our friends that we most definitely can fly a plane in an emergency.
By the way, is there anyone on board who knows how to fly a plane?
Because of all the experience we've gained on the simulator. Let's open it up and see if all that hype has been worth the excruciatingly long wait. I've already got my throttle and stick set up here, so let's dive right into it from a noob's perspective. I am running this with a 9900K clocked at, I believe, 4.8 gigahertz and a 2080 Ti that has a modest overclock. Nothing spectacular, but it's enough to just improve a little performance. I wonder if there'll be an option to skip these once you've watched them. I know a lot of games like to put it out there the first time and then you can skip through it to go faster through the, to go to the menus faster. We'll see on this one next time we open it up. Well, looks like we've hit our first hurdle. So after checking for updates, it's showing that it does have to do a major update. And we're talking 90 to 150 gig that I've seen from some people. For mine, it was about 105 gig. Now, depending on your connection, that could take a long time. And it looks like during the update, it has just rebooted my computer. Okay, so we're not going to get the recording on the update. Let's go ahead and see what happens once it restarts. I will reevaluate and then go ahead and let you know. Okay, so that was a random crash. Now, it could be the overclock that I have put on here, maybe on the GPU or on the CPU, but I have tested those on almost every game that I own, and it has been stable throughout all different types of gameplay. So I have a relatively quick internet connection, and that still took several hours to update. Now, my biggest problem wasn't that it was such a large amount of data to download for the update. It was the fact that it kept crashing. You guys saw that it crashed the computer completely, and after that point, each time I would open it up, it would get a little bit further and then just close the program out. It wouldn't restart the computer, but it would close Flight Simulator and I would have to open it back up. It would recheck for updates, get a little bit further, and it probably did that around 12 times during the updates. So now that that's all complete, let's go ahead and try it out. I will say that it does take quite a bit of time to load, even with the system that I have here. And that's going to be unfortunate for some people that don't have a high-powered computer sitting next to them. It's going to take a long time to load. So for my options, I've gone ahead and gone with the suggested ultra settings. Instead of going in and changing some of the controls before flying, I'm going to go ahead and do what I think most people are going to do, which is go into the world map, find their closest airport or their favorite airport, and just start flying to see how it is. I'm going to leave everything else stock and just go straight to flying. So let's see how the load time is for this setup. It's not too bad. It is starting to creep along at the end there. Now, Microsoft had plenty of time to beta this to get all those crashes and bugs fixed. So having a release that is that difficult just to get started is kind of unacceptable. So I'm assuming that Doha is not one of the airports that they have specifically upgraded to make it look ultra realistic, because it looks nothing like this. But this is a good test for what the generic airport generation would be like. I do like the taxiing animations and everything. In case you don't want to do that yourself, you can just go through the motions here while you wait. Okay. All right. Well, I'm ready to fly, so let's go ahead. Nope. I kind of figured this was going to happen. I did hear some talks about this on the forums. It looks like nothing is mapped. Well, let's go into the controls and see what's going on. Okay, so let's take the rudder pedals for example here. You can see that nothing is assigned. It does show up on here, but since there's no buttons and switches, it's just going to recognize that that's what it is. What we're going to have to do for the rudder pedals is go in and assign the rudder access to these pedals and set the toe brakes for both the left and right brakes. So what you can do before you do anything is set up the sensitivity and the dead zone to your liking here. For me, I like to bring the sensitivity down, let's say about there. Nice little curve to it. And then for the dead zone, let's bring that to about 4. 6 would have been fine, but when I've moved my pedals here, you can see there's just a little bit of slop here, and I want that taken out. Because that's not actually, I don't want that to translate into movement on the aircraft. That's just me shifting around in my seat. Once I start to initiate a move on the rudder, you can see that's when the curve starts. So once that's established, all you're going to do is switch the filter to all. Go ahead and type in, let's do rudder first, and we can see we have our rudder axis right here. Just select, let's go back into there. I want to see what it says here. Search by input. There you go. Click on that. Now it's waiting for your input. You can go ahead and push your pedal, and it sees it. Now hit validate, and you can see you have your slider on the bottom there, and it is following with my movements. So let's add the brakes, right and left brake. Left brake is this one here. There you go. And the right brake is there. Now that we have those set up, I don't know if they're actually set up in the right direction. You might have to come back in here and click reverse axis to get it to operate how you want it. We're going to go ahead and hit apply and save for now, and then I will speed this up while I set up the throttle and stick and all the other buttons on here. All right, so now that we have all this set up, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to that runway where I'm just sitting there waiting to take off and see if all the controls are right. Okay, so the first thing I should have to do is toggle my parking brake. Okay, and let's see if I can look down. All right, so the camera didn't work. I can't look down, but I can do that. There we go. So pull it back, push it forward. Oh, you can definitely see that the sensitivity is wrong on the aileron. That needs to be set so it's a more gradual, smooth turning. You can see how it kind of snaps there. We'll set that up later. All right, looks like my throttles are working fine. Individually, yep. How about flaps? Flaps are working great. Okay, let's go ahead and just take off. And let's see how it looks. Landing gear up. Now, I would definitely say that having the head tracker would be a good thing to put on right now because I can't really look around. Okay, when you head to downtown Doha, you can tell that they're trying to make it pretty accurate, judging by like Google Maps, where you can see there's supposed to be a park here, there's supposed to be buildings here, the coastline, that's all right. The buildings do not line up though, and that's understandable. That'd be incredibly complex to be able to render that in real time, having accurate buildings. So let's go ahead and go to Dubai. All right. So let's go ahead and zoom in here on, there's Abu Dhabi. Dubai. Dubai International, there we go. That is very interesting to see. In the live airport activity, you can actually see the planes, I'm guessing, in real time. Okay, well that looks pretty much like Dubai International. I have been there many times and it is kind of buried within the city there. And you can see the Burj Khalifa off in the distance, so the accuracy is pretty incredible. All right, let's go ahead and take off here. Just make sure everything works before throttling up. And here we go. Wow, I really need to get a handle on these rudder pedals. They're not secured to my floor, so as I'm trying to push on it to correct, it's sliding away from me. So forgive my terrible rudder movements. And we're up. All right, so I think the most obvious thing that I should do is just circle around here so we can head back to the Burj Khalifa once I gain some altitude, of course. I'm pretty sure it was off to the left here. If we don't see it right away, I'm just going to keep circling around. And maybe I was wrong. Okay, well, we'll just make a complete circle here until we find it. It's pretty hard to miss. I mean, it is the tallest building in the world. For now. Okay, well, off in the distance you can see that there is a plane landing. Now, there was traffic in pretty much all the rest of the simulators, but I believe that this is live traffic based off of actual planes that are landing. Somebody can go ahead and leave it in the comments if I am wrong on that. My apologies if I am. And now I finally see the Burj off in the distance here. So let's go ahead and just try to kind of come in with this plane just to see how it looks when it's landing. We'll fly in formation for a little bit. There it is. That looks fantastic. For out of the box, it looks great. Normally you would have to get a whole bunch of different like the ground equipment and different kinds of packs to make the airports look realistic. Okay, so I'm just going to skip forward a little bit here as we head towards the Burj. There it is. Wow, that looks beautiful. The reflections and everything are pretty amazing. Look at the window detail. That's exactly how it looks in real life. That's impressive. And then off in the distance here, you have the Burj Al Arab. That's the iconic sail-looking building. And now, aside from flying around, you can also do challenges. And right here you have landing challenges. And I did fly a couple of these. It's pretty awesome to see how good your landings can get, or how terrible they are. So for the first one, I did Lukla, which is in Nepal. And it is a pretty well-known airport for being absolutely impossible to land on, only for the most skilled pilots, which I am not. Now, I would like to show this because I did end up landing it, but during this this graphically intense portion of the simulator, it actually started bogging down my screen capture. So you can see here as we get it loaded, it is very choppy. It's just my computer couldn't handle it. There we go. Yeah, we can see on the rendering of the airport. There we go. That's pretty bad. So I'll just show you real quick how it looks. Obviously it's pretty choppy, but you can't even see the runway, and you're supposed to just fly in there, see how best you can land, and I ended up landing it, but it wasn't the greatest. And I believe on my second run, I crashed. Now they also have these great tutorials that you can select from, and it gets you familiar with the airplane. So you can select your airport and your aircraft, and then go and fly with an instructor who flies a plane for you while you're getting told exactly what each gauge is or how the flight control surfaces move. So that's a fantastic feature. Okay, so first impressions. It is a fantastic simulator. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it's built off of a platform that we know works, and what they've done is just make it better. There are some hiccups and some bugs that have to be worked through to make it a little bit easier to get started. Overall, I think Microsoft has really paid a lot of attention to what users were demanding over those 14 years between the last release and now. And from a noob perspective, I think I'm going to enjoy this immensely. Once you get past the initial hurdle of the updates and setting up all the controls, all these different challenges, it's pretty easy to open it up, select where you want to fly, and go. Now, I can't speak from an expert point of view because I am definitely not an expert, but for somebody that just wants to hop on here and take a joyride, or take it one step further and start flying real flight paths and approaches, this is going to be perfect. And now we have the added benefit of a huge bump in stock visuals without adding any kind of texture pack, weather pack, airports, anything. Right out of the box, it looks fantastic. Well, that's going to do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and why don't you come back and join me next time. Hello there. Welcome to the end of the video. Now that I've got you here, why don't you take some time to scroll down and peruse the description below. Down there, you will find links to all the products that I mentioned in this video, as well as some of these. Now, I have to mention that those links are affiliated, and a small portion of those sales comes back to support this channel and future projects. Now, growing the Bartman's Bits community is important to me, so when you're done clicking on those links, come on back and click subscribe. And also don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified of any future videos that I release. Now, if you have any suggestions for videos that you'd like to see me make, go ahead and leave it in the comments. And thank you for watching.